Hello, everyone, and welcome back. So many familiar faces in here that I've seen every time I click this show on today. So thank y'all so much. Tonight we have the awesome tech from Trinity Para-Cryptic Research, and he's going to be sharing his Dogman experience with us. He's got a couple other little surprises there. So if y'all will, please share this video out. Tell everybody what we're doing here. And make sure you hit that like button. Like, slam the like button. And make sure if you're not buttering the buns of this channel that you please do so. This is an awesome thing that they've got going on. And I am so happy to be a part of it this time around. So let's get into this. Tex's link is down in the description, as always. So make sure y'all go and butter the buns if you haven't. Hello, Tex.
Howdy, sis. How are you?
I am good. How are you doing?
Just peachy.
That's good.
I do want to put out there real quick. The news I just found out, and I just told you about.
Yes, please do.
Our producer, Shell Squatched, is in the hospital with blood clots in her lungs, and they're taking care of her. She seems to be doing okay. So, but if y'all would just, have her in your prayers, we would appreciate it.
Most definitely. I hate to hear that. I love Shell so much. She is such an awesome person. So everybody, please pray, send good vibes. Whatever it is you do, let's do it.
Yep.
So we had a few guests on earlier that had some cryptic experiences, and I told them to head your way. I also told them to make sure they're here tonight to listen to your story. So you want to tell us a little bit about the channel first, and then you can go off into your experience.
You bet. We can do that. The channel is, of course, Trinity Para-Cryptic Research. And yes, I like to think that that's a new word I invented, para-cryptid, but I looked it up. It's not. Other people got to it before I did. But because we do a little bit of everything. We're not just a Bigfoot channel. We're not just a Dogman channel. The team, and we have an excellent team put together. I got so lucky, and I consider you part of it, Amy. I mean, you've been with me since the get-go.
I better be.
Yeah. Well, you've done. You actually, she did this for me. That's the original logo, and then we've evolved it into this. So
you did a dang good job of evolving it into that.
Yeah, Jason knocked it out of the park.
Yes, he did.
But anyway, the whole team has got experiences that they've had. I've had Dogman. My first experience was a Dogman experience and a sighting, and which we're going to go over tonight. And then years later, after the fact, I started getting into the Bigfoot research and the cryptid research, and I've had paranormal experiences. I've had a Bigfoot sighting and encounters that you know of. And I've gotten evidence. It's not just claims. So you've seen the pictures, heard the audio. So and all this stuff is on our channel. You can look it up. So it's field evidence. We've got Jason, which is my co-host on Texas Front Porch. He actually saw I'll never be able to say the word right. I call it a dino bird, thunderbird, whatever you want to call it.
Pterodactyl.
Something like that. Arachnid. Yeah. What's he call it? Arachnid bird? I don't know. But
I don't try to say the words he says.
Yeah, he's the college boy. He knows how to use those $9 college words. I don't. And then we've got actually Shell Squatch, our producer, has had activity at her place in New Mexico. We believe that Squatch activity. I've went up there and done some looking around myself, and that's an interesting little story too. we've got our executive producer, Bob Van Buren, which he started his own channel Tuesday. He had his first episode, and me and Jason were lucky enough to be his first guest. He's actually had a couple of paranormal experiences, and he's had a bad Ouija board experience, and he's had another ghost experience. Then we got Rob, otherwise known as Bigfoot Michigan Rob. He is my co-host on Thursdays at noon, which is the Brunch with Bigfoot. Now, don't let the name fool you. That's not only a Bigfoot show. We have we go over a lot of different topics. He has had a Bigfoot experience sighting. It scared the living daylights out of it. And I don't blame him. So y'all go check that out. I hope you enjoy it. We also do some, other stuff too. I narrate stuff, and Amy, I've had you narrate stuff, encounters for me. So that's what we do, man. We just do the thing that we do. Hello.
And they do it well.
Well, thank you very much. You know what? I'm going to do the encounter, and then we can show the pictures. Now these are artistic renditions of what I've seen. One of them was found online. It's very close. One of them I did myself. One of them I was on another show, and with a sketch artist, and we spent 2.5 hours going over me describing what it looked like and him drawing it. So, and then we got a really big surprise for you that I just played for Amy.
Yes, I'll stick around for that.
So let's get into it now. Do you want to do this? You want to shoot questions at me? You just want me to go for it?
I just want you to tell it like you told it before.
All right. So I was 16 at this point. Now I just turned 54. So it's been a day or two ago. I grew up out in the country. Been hunting, fishing, camping, trapping all my life. At a young age, I was going out by myself doing all this. And so, but I was 16 when this happened. And I'd been out hunting. I'd just been out rabbit hunting, having a little 410 with me. And I was coming back home, and I was walking down a white gravel road that bordered one side of our place. I had a couple of rabbits on my belt, no ammo for my gun. I was out. And I was just about to jump the fence. We had a 5-strand barbed wire fence that runs about 5 feet tall. And I was just about to crawl through the fence and make a beeline for the house, across the pastures. This thing, and the sun it was daylight, sun wasn't down yet. And I don't know. I still don't know what happened. I really don't. I don't know if I woke it up, disturbed the meal, or if he was just running and happened to cross my path. I don't know. But he bust out of the brush on my left side and ran across the road about 20 to 30 feet in front of me. And he was on 2 legs. And the image that I have frozen in my mind is when he turned his head and he growled at me, snarled and growled at me. And then he continued on, and he jumped over our fence and went onto our property. Now, he didn't hurdle the fence. He dove over the fence and went down to all fours. And I saw the grass move for about 10, 15 yards, and then just nothing. Of course, the grass, what we got down here, what we call it love grass, and it grows about 4 feet tall. So at that point, it was definitely an underwear changing moment. I froze. I couldn't do anything. I was just frozen. And because this thing wasn't supposed to exist, and Dogman, the term Dogman at that point hadn't even been coined. So I didn't know anything to call it except I saw a werewolf. It was between 7 and 8 feet tall, very muscular, very cut. It wasn't all woolly and hairy. The hair it had over it was probably, on its body, was probably 4 inches long, but it wasn't real thick. You could see the hide underneath. Now, it was black with almost gray silver highlights. And one thing that really stood out to me was it didn't have the the backwards turned dog legs. It was human-like. The feet were really long, and it was up on its toes. So I can see where if somebody saw that, they would say, "Oh, it had backward facing leg. It had that other knee joint in there, that hawk." But that I don't think that was the case. I think it was just a long feet, and he was up on his toes. He had like a mane. It kind of started here, here, and just went over like this, and the width of his shoulders, and then went down his back like that. And he didn't have the pointed like wolf snout. The snout was shorter and it was blunt. He didn't have a lot of people that have these sightings. They'll say these critters, they just have a mouth full of gnarly looking teeth. That wasn't the case. It had canine looking teeth, but that was it. Just nothing more than a normal dog would have. The eyes were glowing red or nothing like that. They were just brown dog eyes, from what I could see. But he did have pointed ears. The ears were set lower on his head than you usually see depicted, but they were pinned back. Like if you've ever been around horses or even dogs, they get upset, they pin their ears back. And that's when he turned his head and growled at me, that's how his ears were pinned back against his head. I don't think he wanted anything to do with me. He was just, because there wasn't nothing I could do. If this thing wanted me, it would have got me. But when he jumped the fence, I had a choice to make. I could either follow him into the tall grass, or I could take the long way home, which meant going up a road like this, going across, and then on the other side of our property, going down the driveway. Well, that's the way I went. I mean, all this is happening like this in my head. The walk home is pretty much a blur. I do remember turning the first corner, and getting a little bit down that road and thinking to myself, because I remember looking at the trees and thinking to myself, I'm out of ammo. I basically got a 3-foot club with me. Maybe I'll get a swing at him if he comes at me. The rest of the trip is pretty much a blur. I got home. I walked in the back door. My mom had one rule: no guns in the kitchen. And there's no other way to put it. I was in state shock. So I come in. I just basically collapsed in the kitchen chair, put my gun on the table. My mom's in the kitchen. She was washing dishes. I don't know what she was doing. I can't remember. And she turned around. She's fixing to scold me. And she says, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you? You're white as a ghost." I tried to tell her. I couldn't speak. My sister lived next door to us. She called my sister. My sister come over, and it took them about 45 minutes or almost an hour to calm me down enough where I could actually tell them what had happened. They tried to convince me that I'd saw a big dog, a wolf, maybe a homeless person, and my imagination took over and whatever. Well, as the years went by, I stuck to my guns, and they never called me a liar. They never said, you didn't see whatever. They're real supportive, which I was lucky to have. Now, it took me about 6 months I wouldn't leave the place. I really wouldn't. I wouldn't go out hardly at all. Certainly wouldn't go. I didn't even like going to feed the pigs and the horses and stuff. I didn't even like going down there. But it got to the point to where I felt like I was being bullied. I felt, this thing was intimidating me. This thing was keeping me from doing what I loved. And I just got mad. And I said, I'm not going to let it do that. If it wanted to kill me, it would have killed me. So I started going back out about 6 months after I saw this thing. Some time went by, nothing happened. And I was going back out to the place that I had hunted that day, which was my favorite place to hunt. And it was a really cool setup. It was on an old boy's property. He had about 1,200 acres. And he allowed me to hunt it as long as I kept. And I was basically his eyes and ears. If I saw anything wrong, if I could fix a fence, if a fence was down, I fixed it and told him about it. Or if I couldn't, I'd just let him know and I'd help him do it. So that type of thing. You scratch my back, I'll scratch yours. But he had one side of his place cleared out, and it was basically a hayfield. The other place he hadn't cleared out, and it was some thick brush. It was so thick that you had to travel with game trails. And sometimes you're down on your hands and knees. But what was cool about it is you'd be going along these game trails and it would just open up into a clearing. Some of them were, just big enough to pitch a tent. Some of them were almost as big as the footprint of a house. And it had that little about 12-inch prairie grass in it. Perfect. And that, I'd go find me a clearing, and that's where I'd spend the night. That's where I pitch camp. So, but anyway, there was a deadfall that had fell across the fence that we hadn't took care of yet. And I was going to step up on the tree and jump over on the side of the fence, on the other side of the fence. And I was just about to step up on that tree, and I heard something walking in the brush. And there was a set of twins that lived on the other side of this place that hunted it. And I knew them. I was friends with them. So I thought, well, maybe it's one of them or both of them, whatever. Whatever it was on two legs. And so I hollered out. I said, hey, if that's one of y'all out there, or if that's somebody else out there, let me know. And it stopped. I said, come on now. I said, y'all need to let me know if it's, somebody's out there. And it just shifted its weight. I said, look, if you don't tell me, I'm going to shoot. And it shifted its weight again. So I popped a round off on the air and all hell broke loose. This thing, it come charging through the trees, and it was, limbs busting and breaking and all kinds of stuff. I'll be honest with you. I didn't wait. I didn't want to see it. I tucked tail and ran. It was almost 2 miles to the house. I never slowed down. Now, I never saw it, but I didn't. If this thing was fixing to snatch me on the behind, that was fine. I didn't want to know what was coming. Now, we would always get reports, around around not just our place, but around the area. You have chickens come up missing. You have a freshborn calf come up missing, or you get a horse tore up, or your dog's getting in a fight, or something kill your dogs, or that type of thing. And you always get blamed on either a big cat or a pack of wild dogs. Which we had the big cat roam through the area every, once a year or so, make a cycle through there. But years later, I got to talking about this on YouTube, and talked to a woman that had a Dogman channel. It's defunct now, but got talking about it. She goes, well, what else has happened and all that kind of stuff. I said, I don't. And about a year or so before I had my first sighting, we had a dog get killed. And I never put two and two together because of what my daddy told me. But we found him. He disappeared, and we found him because he started stinking, and he was underneath the house. And of course, I got to go get him. So I crawled in the house and I dragged him out, and he looked like somebody had just pulled him, held him up by the front legs, and just gutted him. And I didn't know it then, but according to reports that we get now and stuff, these dogmen have a habit of killing especially the dogs around a place, and they'll throw them up under a structure for some reason. I don't know why. And Bigfoot has been known to do that too, but they tend to throw it at the structure. But then I found the place that was next door to the place I hunted. There was a family that lived there, and they didn't live there. They kept their horses there. They had about, 6 horses. And they left. They just took all their horses and left one day. Well, I was out poking around, and I found the skeleton of a horse. It's pretty much just bone and a little bit of hide. And it wasn't scattered to the four winds. It wasn't, it was pretty much all intact right there. And I just thought it was cool to have a horse skull to put in the rock garden. So I grabbed the skull and took it back. And I was telling her about this. She goes, that could have been a kill site. Because if it wasn't messed with. Because normally when something dies in the wild, predation takes over and, it gets scattered. So I don't know if it was or not. But it could have been. I don't know. Now, it was one of the, I told y'all that I sat down with an artist the other night, and he did this. And we spent 2.5 hours doing this. And in this course, telling the story like this is I still get kind of hesitant. I apologize. Telling it at times, but reliving it for 2.5 hours in the detail that I had to, that was harder than I thought it was going to be. It was pretty rough. I got pretty emotional. And when I didn't know at the time, I found out afterwards, an old boy was watching me that specializes in watching body language and deception and all this kind of stuff. And we talked afterwards. He said, I've been watching you. I said, oh, yeah. He said, yeah. He said, I just want you to know that I believe every word you said. And that meant a lot coming from him after, because I knew the boy did this, but I'd never talked to him before. He said, yeah, I didn't see any deception in what you said. I said, well, that's because there ain't none. But I want to show y'all, I think I sent you those pictures, didn't I, Amy?
Yes.
That first picture, let's show them what the old boy came up with, that drawing. If we can do that.
Yes, I can. Let me move over here to this deal.
Now, what y'all got to remember, I've yet to see anything that is spot on, but this old boy came pretty close.
My computer's slow, so bear with me.
No problem. The closest thing that I've ever seen Hollywood-wise, and I think a lot of people do that when they have these weird experiences, they try to grab something that that they can explain it, that looks like it, that, because your mind has to get wrapped around. It's basically your mind has to reboot when you have an experience like this. Because these things aren't supposed to exist. We're told all our lives that these things aren't supposed to exist.
Right.
And the closest thing that Hollywood has put out that I've seen really was the American Werewolf in London. But
yeah, I hear that.
Do what?
I hear that a lot. That was the closest replica of what people normally would see.
Yeah. And the thing about it is, it makes you wonder what kind of research these makeup artists and stuff has done. Have they listened to encounters?
Right.
Because I mean, it's not, to me, it's being one in a million shot to get it so spot on.
So which one do you want to show first? Let's
show the drawing.
The drawing first?
Yeah.
Okay, let me get it.
I don't know. It rattled me for a while. I'm honestly, that's really the core reason I started my channel, is to give people that's been traumatized by these experiences an avenue, a platform to talk, and not necessarily be on the show, but just give them somebody to talk to that's been through it and won't tell them they're crazy.
Right.
Because that's part of it. You question everything. You can question your own sanity when you're running into stuff like this.
Okay. It should be popping up in a second now. Okay. Oh, I'm echoing. Here we go. All right. So this is can y'all see that?
That looks pretty good from here.
Okay.
Now, like I said, that's the artist. That's what he came up with through my description. Now the problem is I basically saw it on like a 3/4 profile, and he did it straight on. But so and when I draw it, I draw a profile, and I'll show y'all that next. But I mean, he's really, really close, and he was a hell of a good guy. His name's Larry Batson that did that, and this was the first Dogman that he'd ever done.
Did you want to show the other one as well?
You know what? Let's. I'll show my drawings real quick.
Okay. And you can share your screen if you want to.
Well, that's the problem. I don't have them on my computer.
I've got it on your deal. Okay.
So if you want to make me just solo screen, maybe when people see it better.
Well,
now these I've done when I was on the show, and I was just sketching. When I get to thinking about it, I tried to do a headshot, just a full page headshot the other day, and that's what my limited talents came up with. Guess you can see that. So, and then I've got this. That's pretty much a full body that I tried to do. and
Oh,
then
wow.
and then another headshot right there. So, but I mean, it's now if you want to see something that a good friend of mine, we were talking about it on the show the other night, and a good friend of mine sent me an image of what she found that she goes, is this, she thought it sounded really close to what I was talking about. And that's that other picture that you got that she found online.
Okay.
So you can show that if you want. Now this one, if you lowered the ears on the head just a touch and lengthened the snout just a little bit, spot on.
Okay. Whoops. Share my screen. There we go. Okay. So here is this one.
Yeah, if you just lengthen that snout a little bit and lower them ears, the hair on the face, hanging down off the jaw, everything, man, that's just boom. And the snarl and one thing that really stood out, if you know anything about dogs, you know, some dogs have black in their mouth, and they have what's called mottled. It's black mottled mouth, and it's black and pink. Their tongue and the roof of their mouth and their gums and everything are black and pink. That's what this thing's mouth looked like. It was mottled like that, which was really freaking weird. Because I mean, old wives' tale. That's how you pick a smart dog. You got black in his mouth, he's a smart dog. Now,
Oh, go ahead.
No, go right ahead.
Laura was saying that your drawing looked similar to what she saw, but hers was more black. But she saw red eyes. Now, could it be because she's seen it during the dark?
See, and I think it was probably eye shine, because even if you look at, you can do an experiment on your dog. It depends. The color of the eye shine will change on a dog depending on what type of light, how much light, the angle, everything. So, I've heard yellow glowing eyes, red glowing eyes, even green. So, white, the whole nine. I've heard the whole gambit.
So it definitely could, because she did say that the moon was shining down on it. So
that could have very well been, because that's enough ambient. If it's a good moon and it hits it right, that's enough ambient light to give you some eye shine.
right.
Especially the bigger the eyes, the more they're going to shine anyway. So, and yeah, Shadows of the Moon. The whole body was muscular. He had a real deep chest and narrow. He was built like a wedge.
Are you done with the pictures?
Oh yeah, go right ahead.
Okay.
Now, we got some friends, and I do a lot of my research now in Oklahoma, and we got some friends from Southern Oklahoma that caught some audio. And we don't know, we're not claiming what it is because we don't know. It hasn't been identified. But, oh man, it is,
But we want
it's a good piece of audio. So y'all want to play that now?
yes. And after you play that, I want to show you that one picture. Or did I already show it to you?
Which one?
The one from our the place we went to.
No, you have not shown me those yet.
Okay, I'll show it to you after you do this.
Okay. Here we go.
I want to go so bad.
So that is, like I said, we don't know. And so Jenny asked if I was scared when I saw it. Yeah, it was an underwear changing moment. I was terrified.
Yeah, I would have been.
But it was strange because I don't remember being in fear of my life type thing. I don't remember it getting a lot of people talk about getting that sense of dread. They call it a lot of times people call it Dogman sickness. I didn't get that. I just remember being scared, but not like in fear of my life type thing. It was kind of weird, but it threw me into shock. So I was scared. I no doubt. I mean, I was scared, speechless, literally. Was it aggressive to me? I don't think so. It growled at me, but the feeling I got was more of a back off, don't follow me.
Mm-hmm.
More of a warning. But see, I don't consider a lot of what people run into with Dogman, with Squatch, a lot of what they call aggressive encounters, I don't consider aggressive. I don't consider getting bluff charged aggressive. I don't consider getting roared at aggressive. I don't consider getting growled at aggressive, throwing rocks at aggressive. I don't consider that being aggressive. To me, that's this animal's way of trying to keep it from getting aggressive. It's trying to, it's giving you a warning. You're in my territory. Get out. But I can also understand where a lot of people would take that as being aggressive.
Right.
So, but that's just my train of thought on it.
Well, I agree, because it's the same with paranormal. A lot of people take you getting touched or pushed or whatever stuff being thrown as demon or negative, and a lot of times it's just a spirit trying to get your attention.
Right.
Okay, you ready to see this picture, Tex?
Yeah, let's see it.
This is from our very first video that we did there. Let me share the screen. Yeah, this threw me off. I could not believe it. Okay, so here's the picture. So right here, I think is the clearest. You can see the shirt, a pair of shorts, legs. Here you have one that's just looks like somebody standing by a tree that's basically see-through. But over here, and you can't really see it good with it blown up like this, but I see a woman here with a white dress on. You can even see her shoes, and a man that looks like he's wearing a suit standing right here, and it looks like they've got their arms wrapped around each other like they're scared.
Almost like, but to me, it almost looks like a bride and groom picture.
Yeah, almost. That's what I've said. So I don't know if this could be like a family, like a mom and dad, and it looks like two kids to me. But I can see faces all the way through here. I can see a face here. I can see, you can see faces throughout, but these are just like, you can see them plain as day.
Yeah. That's an awesome catch.
It definitely was. And Casey, Casey's kaleidoscope, she's the one that actually caught it in our video and sent me the picture and said, "Did you see these?" As she pointed out the two that are circled, and then I seen the one that was over here by the tree standing So yeah, that place is definitely covered in stuff. Like
There's a lot of stuff going on in that area.
there is.
I've got the audio on my channel that you've listened to.
Yes.
A friend of mine, Gary Spikes, he's in here, P3 Productions. He's got the audio and he's cleaned it up. And when I sent it to him, he started going through it. There's more than I thought was in there.
Yeah.
He's picked out he's picked out tree knocks. He's picked out, whoops. And of course you got the growls. You've got the voices, especially that one voice. It's clearly a female voice going, come on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Sander wants to know if they knock two rocks together, or I guess like the wood together, like Bigfoot does.
Right. Well, you know what? That's just it. Until somebody witnesses that, we can't say if they do or not.
Right.
I've never witnessed a dog man doing it. The only time I've ever witnessed a dog man was running across the road in front of me.
Right.
He was close enough. I don't think I want to get any closer to one, but so if you don't witness something doing a certain behavior, who's to say? I've gotten reports of them, trying to open car doors, tapping on the window, and just looking at you. For some reason, and Bigfoot's done the same thing. For some reason, the dogmen seem to want to terrorize you and scare you a little bit more than the Bigfoot is acting more curious.
Right.
We've had reports of, now this is Bigfoot, we've had reports of Bigfoot actually dragging dogman too, dragging branches behind them, covering the trail. So they are intelligent creatures. I don't know about the dogman, but I know with Squatch, I credit them with about the same intelligence as I do killer whales. And if you really research a killer whale, they are unbelievably smart.
All right.
But it's what the dogman does versus Squatch. Half the activity that you get, well, more than half the activity that you get, that I get, you never see the creature. But you got something chunking rocks through the trees at you.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I've had so much crazy stuff happen to me in my research area that, when y'all went down there with us, we had a sighting that day.
Yes.
And then of course we actually got to talk to law enforcement.
Mm-hmm. Yes, not by choice of our own.
Exactly. But it turned out to be a good conversation.
It did.
When I've got tribal police telling me that they've got officers on their staff that's had Bigfoot encounters, and the one I'm talking to tells me about his paranormal encounter.
Yeah.
It leads it solidifies everything that we've experienced. It gives that more credit, because I think.
Yeah, because most of them would be like, oh, y'all need to get out of here. There ain't nothing like that here. But they were like, oh, yeah, there's definitely something here. But
of course, there was a coven of witches running around that night too that we didn't know about.
Yeah.
And
I think that was the scariest part.
Well, these evidently were not a coven of Glinda the Good Witches either.
No,
they were down there sacrificing chickens from what we were told.
Yes.
And Tex, is Dogman and werewolf the same? That is a really, really good question. I've heard reports of people seeing Dogman or werewolf that's actually wearing clothes. I personally think that it's two separate things. I think the werewolf is more spiritual and the Dogman is more physical. But that's just me. I do think there are shapeshifters out there. I don't know if how physical they materialize. If it's a demon materializing a certain, we are trying to on our channel. We're trying to combine the efforts of us and you and Laney,
Yes.
And trying to use our combined tools and combined experiences to figure some of this out, because there's so many phenomenon we think that is getting put under the same umbrella. And we're trying to straighten that whole knot out, because it is, and I think we've got the perfect place to do it.
Exactly.
Do you think if you believe in a creature, you can make it real? I think that the dark side of a human can manifest a demon, or allow a demon to manifest, if that answers your question. Let's see, we got anything else?
Yes, you probably did, Sandra. I think I saw you on Daniela's show and Mogs. Am I right?
Yes. Yes, I have been on both. They're both very good friends of mine. I've also been on that come to Dogman Encounters radio, and I've been on his Bigfoot Eyewitness radio. So, but it's let's see.
What exactly is a shapeshifter?
Is it a creature that can change into anything? I don't know. I'm not an expert. And I know Amy agrees with me. There are no experts in these fields.
No, there are not.
And I'm sorry if anybody claims to be an expert, they lose credibility with me.
Right.
Because until you get, and this paranormal wise too, until you can get something, a cryptid or an entity or whatever, in a controlled environment to sit there and study, there's not going to be. Do I think there's agencies out there that have these in captivity? Yes, I do. Do I think they have dead bodies? Yes, I do.
Yep.
But Joe Smo like me, I don't have it. And and the thing about it is, everybody's like, well, why don't you shoot one? Well, it's not the one that you got your sight on that you got to worry about. It's the two that you don't see.
Exactly.
From the reports that we've seen, our experiences, from what we can gather, our best guess is they tend to pack hunt. And that goes for Dogman and Squatch. Yeah. So now a lot of people, okay, let's get back to shapeshifters. I don't know if shapeshifters can transform it into anything they want. I don't know. I know if you look at the stuff from Louisiana, the Loup-Garou, I always get these backwards. You got the Rougarou, you got the Loup-Garou. I think the Loup-Garou is the werewolf creature. That's basically a curse, from what I understand. The Rougarou is the Bigfoot creature, I do believe. So, and then you get into the Wendigo, you get into, so it's one big ball of mess. I mean, it's hard to keep straight. you know?
Yeah.
But I think a lot of what we're seeing has to do with demonic activity. I think that if the physical creatures now, I've had a lot of reports of people tell me they rebuke dogmen or Sasquatch in the name of Christ and they go away. Okay, one or two things here. One, it wasn't a physical creature. Okay, because spirits, demons, blah blah blah, they have a set of rules that they have to abide by.
Mm-hmm.
And physical creatures, not so much. You know, they're wild animals, and I treat them as such. I treat them with the same respect I do any other big predator in the woods.
Mm-hmm.
But if it was a physical creature, I think these people could have recited the Pledge of Allegiance in the same tone with the same confidence in their voice and accomplish the same thing. That's just my opinion.
And it's a good opinion.
Now, I know y'all had a little run-in with a critter up in a cemetery not too long ago.
Yes.
Which I've yet to get up there and flush out myself, or try to anyway.
Yeah, you definitely need to get up there. Okay, guys, we are coming up on our hour. So if you want to see any more of Texas Handsome Face, you're going to have to go down there to that description and get that link, follow it, and go subscribe to that channel. I promise you, you're going to love it.
Thank you.
Their shows are awesome. They're fun. They're interesting. They have amazing guests on there, including yours truly. We go on there here and there when they let us. But you guys know Tex from our channel as well, and you know he's a great person. Jason is awesome. Bob's running around in there somewhere too, and we're going to get his channel shared out there as well. But go over, support Tex's channel, and I appreciate you so much for coming up and telling us about your encounter.
Anytime.
And I'm looking forward to getting back together with you and getting out and getting some more stuff done.
Oh, yes, most definitely. And that's coming in the near future, by the way.
Do what?
I said that's coming in the near future.
Yes. Guys, I appreciate you so much. We have one more show today. We have made it through the day. We have one more show. And of course, I'm ending the show with my Twinkie, Entity Paranormal Investigators. We're going to be talking about the spirit box and Estes method and all that. So make sure you come back to the next one. All right, guys, I will see you here in just a few. Bye. Love you, Tex. Thank you.
Love you, sis.